chapter 10, text 105. Shri Gopala Bhatta Eka Saka Sarvo Tama Rupa Rupa Sanatana Sanghe Yanra Prema Alapana. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the 47th branch, was one of the great exalted branches of the tree. He always engaged in discourses about love of Godhead in the company of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Purport. Sri Gopal Bhatta was the son of Venkata Bhatta, a resident of Srirangam. Gopal Bhatta formerly belonged to the disciplic succession of the Ramanuja Sampradaya, but later became part of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. In the year of 1433 Shakabda, AD 1511, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was touring South India, he stayed for 4 months during the period of Chaturmasya at the house of Venkata Bhatta, who then got the opportunity to serve the Lord to his heart's content. Gopal Bhatta also got the opportunity to serve the Lord at this time. Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami was later initiated by his uncle, the great sannyasi Prabodhananda Saraswati. Both the father and the mother of Gopal Bhatta Goswami were extremely fortunate, for they dedicated their entire lives to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They allowed Gopal Bhatta Goswami to go to Vrindavan, and they gave up their lives thinking of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was later informed that Gopal Bhatta Goswami had gone to Vrindavan to meet Sri Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, he was very pleased, and he advised Sri Rupa and Sanatana to accept Gopal Bhatta Goswami as their younger brother and take care of him. Sri Sanatana Goswami, out of his great affection for Gopal Bhatta Goswami, compiled the Vaishnava Smriti named Hari Bhakti Vilas and published it under his name, under the instruction of Srila Rupa and Sanatana. Gopal Bhatta Goswami installed one of the 7 principal deities of Vrindavan, the Radharaman deity. The Sevites, or priests, of the Radharaman temple belong to the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Paragraph. When Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami took permission from all the Vaishnavas before writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gopal Bhatta Goswami also gave him his blessings. But he requested him not to mention his name in the book. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has mentioned Gopal Bhatta Goswami only very cautiously in 1 or 2 passages of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Jiva Goswami has written in the beginning of his Tattva Sandarbha, quote, a devotee from southern India who was born of a Brahmana family and was a very intimate friend of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami has written a book that he has not compiled systematically. Therefore, I, a tiny jiva entity, am trying to present the book systematically, consulting the direction of great personalities like Madhvacharya, Sridhar Swami, Ramanujacharya, and other senior Vaishnavas in the disciplic succession, unquote. In the beginning of the Bhagavat Sandarbha, there are similar statements by Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami compiled a book called Sat Kriya Sara Dipika, edited the Hari Bhakti Vilas, wrote a foreword to the Shat Sandarbha, and a commentary on Krishna Karnamrita, and installed the Radharaman deity in Vrindavan. In the Gora Godadesh Dipika, it is mentioned that his previous name in the pastimes of Lord Krishna was Anangamanjari. Sometimes he is also said to have been an incarnation of Guna Manjari. Srinivasacharya and Gopinath Pujari were two of his disciples. But just a little glimpse of his life. And it's appropriate and nice to honor a great personality like Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He, as is apparent from these two paragraphs, he liked he manifested humility in a particular way. And that particular way was staying in the background. He liked serving invisibly. And therefore, these three wonderful literatures, Hari Bhakti Vilas, the Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami, it is said, here it's not expressed in this way, but it is said that when he was still a young boy, because A and B, he was the son of the chief priest of Srirangam. And a Brahmana. So he had access to their library, all the teachings, everything of the Vedas, because Venkatapati, he had access to everything, and he was more than intelligent. He was an empowered personality. He was brilliant. And so he read. Now, normally a young boy that's reading, he would have read with the eye or the vision of his sampradaya. His father's a chief priest, and his father's a learned personality also. So, normally, a young boy growing up would learn the scriptures from that angle of vision. And in his case, however, he had the divine arrangement of having Lord Chaitanya's association for 4 months, and that was very transforming. He had a father, but he also had a brother, or his uncle. And the uncle gave Diksha, because the father doesn't give Diksha to the son. The uncle, his brother, gave Diksha. And Prabodhananda Saraswati also left Srirangam. He's part of this celebrated family. He left Srirangam and went to live by the side of the river Jamuna and wrote books about Lord Chaitanya. Very, very elevated because he was a highly placed Brahmana and an ardent follower of Lord Chaitanya. And he gave, while still in Sri Rangam, he gave Diksha. So he, Gopal Bhatta, is a Diksha disciple of Prabodhananda Saraswati, and is considered to be in the line by Diksha as well as by um, his teachings. His teachings, unquestionably. So, as a young boy, with this access to this library, he not only read and studied, he wrote and compiled. One of the literatures that he compiled was the teachings on observing Hari Bhakti Vilas. He was the original author because he knew how to do all those things from his father and from the upbringing and in his childhood. So, in addition to how to worship the deity, how to everything, how to have Janmashtami, how to observe Ekadasi, how to get married, how to this and how to that, so how to manual, according to scripture. But as we know, different sampradayas or different lines of authority have different ways of going about the same thing. It's the same thing, but there's a procedure and a system. So he compiled according to Lord Chaitanya's teachings, and he was in those 4 months he became completely transformed. That association was extraordinary, and he was extraordinary. Put the two together, and he compiled this how-to manual that was then later given to Sanatana Goswami with the request, it's not structured, it's not organized properly, but please you do that on one condition, don't mention my name. Same with the Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami. He compiled not in the same systematic way and handed it off to Jiva Goswami. Asked him, you arrange it in a publishable form, and one condition, don't mention my name. Krishnadas Kaviraj, don't mention my name. So it was just indirectly. But his contemporaries knew, and we're not contemporaries, and we also know. Because that was the kind of personality he was. He wanted his name not to be mentioned. So rather, one learned Brahmana from South India, without mentioning his name. When Lord Chaitanya was ready to leave, he wanted to after 4 months, he's just a young boy, I want to leave with you. Please don't leave me alone. And Lord Chaitanya instructed him, no, you stay and serve your parents. In due course of time, with the permission of your parents, you may then, he didn't say, come join me, but you go to Vrindavan. So, the geography, where Sri Rangam is way down in South India, and Lord Chaitanya is in Puri, and Vrindavan is way over in the direction-wise northwest. He didn't go to Puri because Lord Chaitanya said, take shelter of Rupa and Sanatan. So that's what he did. It's a long journey for anyone. No trains, no planes, no. So he went however he went, made his way to Vrindavan. And the place where he stayed in Vrindavan was also a little secluded. when you visit Vrindavan, you'll see it's a little secluded. And then it was like super secluded because Vrindavan is now developed, and then it wasn't developed. It was just secluded. That was his personality. He liked. Not mentioned here, but as the Goswamis were residing in Vrindavan, it's specifically the Radharaman temple is one of the 7 principal temples. That's how they're known today. You know, the 6 Goswamis, and also a place where Narottam Das Thakur stayed, and Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur stayed, and they had their deities. So that's one of the 7, plus the other 6 Goswamis. So one time, a wealthy somebody or other, merchant, came to Vrindavan, and he was so inspired by the association there that he wanted to gift something to these sannyasis. But what do these renunciates need? So that you can give something for the deity. So he gave this and that, crowns and ornaments and cloth, and for. But Gopal Bhatta didn't have a deity that they could decorate and dress in this way. He had Shalagram Shilas, which he had received as a whole story of how that happened. But so he has a number of Shilas that he worshipped in traditional South India style, but with mantras that are also Gaudiya mantras, because he knew the mantras. He knew which mantras to recite. So you know the story. It's self-manifesting deity. He was desiring. Yesterday evening we spoke about Yatarham, exactly corresponding to the prayer of the devotee. Krishna reciprocated from the Shalagram Shila, manifested Radharaman with very, very exquisite facial features and little boy teeth, like if you very close up photographs of the deity. And then he worshipped in a style that's not like Sri Vaishnava style, but the dressing of the deity very meticulously per the fastidiousness of South Indian brahmanas. The worship was fastidious, but also the decoration was Lord Chaitanya-esque. Like on Balaram's appearance day, he's got a plow. So, or Vamana Dwadasi, each of the appearance days, the deity is attired according to that each day of the year. There's something special. And they're really into it, and they're really good at it. And, that's a tradition in the Radharaman temple. As a gift, in the mood of Vrindavan, but as a gift from Krishna himself to reciprocate with the desire of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, to have a deity that he could dress and engage in the gift that was given by this wealthy merchant and other forms of worship. So he is superlative in understanding deity worship. Therefore, it's a detail, but over the generations and generations and generations and generations, the chief priest at the Radharaman temple was respected by all the other temples because of his erudition and scholarship. For example, during Srila Prabhupada's time, Vishvambar Goswami was the name, and Vishvambara Goswami was the one to conduct the installation of Krishna Balaram. And the reason was, his overseeing it, no one would object. And he had a very loving relationship with Prabhupada. He had great respect for Prabhupada. And so there he is. I mean, I was there for the installation. Everything paka. They're in the courtyard of Krishna Balaram temple. It's kind of goes down. There's some steps that go down. And then there's the steps that go up, and then there's an area where kirtan can go on, and there's the altar. So these platforms were different activities that are part of the standard procedure for like meticulous deity installation, and it went on for the whole day. And the same. It was very clear. If he was overseeing everything, and if something wasn't done right, he'd had to go back and do it again. All the way through. It was fascinating to watch. And so the point is, everyone respected Vishvambara Goswami. The in the line of disciplic succession from Gopal Bhatta Goswami. I mean, Gopal Bhatta wasn't a son because Gopal Bhatta wasn't married, but he had a principal disciple, and that principal disciple became, that took on the title Goswami, something Goswami. And then he was a grahastha, and he had a son, and so forth. Hereditary. And to this day, Vishvambara Goswami is no longer in this world, but his son has affection for ISKCON like his father had affection for Prabhupada. It's just, they're very pure. There's no envy. It was affection and skill and spiritual power. And you can imagine in a place like Vrindavan, if not pure, people might be a little proud of their position and their something, their title. Anyway, I was really impressed with all of these things. And one last thing, because I want to end. One time we were on a yatra, and one of the places we visited was Sri Rangam. And without going with the whole group, Padmanabha Goswami saw us, and he made an invitation if we would like to visit. So of course we'd like to visit. So we came and went to the home of the chief priest of Sri Rangam, and 3 things. It was spotless. 2, it had next to no paraphernalia. It's like, 3-foot thick walls, black stone, not like polished marble, kind of rough stone, but not really, really, really rough. It was an amazing kind of architecture. And I asked, where did Lord Chaitanya stay? And he just gestured like this. The whole place was his. Because his father had great respect. Venkatabhatta had great respect. But he had his service. So his brother, Prabodhananda Saraswati, didn't have to stay, so he didn't stay. He went to Vrindavan. But he had the roam of the place. And the second thing is that the priest said, have you seen the Jagannath deities that Lord Chaitanya personally carved? I said, no. Come, I'll show you. So down the street and over on across the street, a little temple, and the deities are more human looking as opposed to the Jagannath form. That's, he has big eyes and everything, but the features of the deity was more like human as opposed to like Jagannath and Baladev and Subhadra. But it was clear, and Lord Chaitanya personally carved those deities. He had love for Lord Jagannath. Unique kind of love. And so in feelings of separation from Lord Jagannath there for 4 months, he carved Lord Jagannath in a very different feature. So a lot of mystery, a lot of very interesting details of Lord Chaitanya's interaction with everyone, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami was one. It's clear from these two paragraphs that there was a system, most likely a system where Lord Chaitanya would take a message, a written message, and a messenger would carry the message to Rupa and Sanatan. So when Gopal left Srirangam, Lord Chaitanya knew. And then he sent a messenger with a message to Rupa and Sanatan, take care of him like a younger brother. By age, he was significantly younger, like a son, but take care of him in this way. And so they did. And he received a lot of mercy from Rupa and Sanatan. A very special personality. Gopal Bhatta Goswami and his Radharaman deity. Okay, let's see if there's some discussion.
Maharaj, may I ask the question? Sorry. So sorry. So sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Maharaj, Sri Rangam itself was a very potent place for spiritual realization. Sri Rangam by itself is a very potent place for spiritual realization.
Still is.
Still is. Yes, you're right. So Maharaj, so what was the need to go to Vrindavan, and how could such a decision be taken? I mean,
Can you speak slower?
Yeah. So why was the need to shift to Vrindavan at all arising? Because Srinagar itself, he could have made much advancement being in a very holy place.
Because Vrindavan is special. It's not, there's holy places all over India. And special holy places all over India. And Vrindavan is superlative. Why did Lord Chaitanya send Rupa and Sanatan and Raghunath Das Goswami and others to go to Vrindavan? It's the land of Krishna. Because they were there, take shelter, so they could train him in Gaudiya Vaishnava teachings. And they're steeped in it, in a way that a resident would be steeped in it. So, we're practicing Krishna consciousness somewhere. And then Vrindavan is special. No?
No, it is special. He acted under guidance. That's why shifting was very sensible.
That's okay, but residing is different. It's like, it's like being in the presence of the personality of Godhead. It's different than, reading a book about him or hearing his teachings. It's different. Not different, but different. Something else?
Can I
Yeah,
ask a follow-up?
yeah,
Maharaj?
sure.
Maharaj, he could have gone directly to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri also.
He could have, but he didn't get that instruction, so he didn't. He followed instructions.
So that's what the instruction
Yeah.
should be the determining criteria.
And you do that. You don't do what you want to do. You do what the instruction is.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I'm trying to think more into the yesterday's question, and it relates to today's topic also, the desire. We see in the elevated devotees that they have a lot of like spontaneity in their desires to serve. Sometimes we might also have some little bit, but more of we have to do a lot of deliberation to know we should do this, like it comes to duty and all that. But that is a not very settling, or it feels very uncomfortable or not natural. So
What is uncomfortable? Processing carefully is unnatural?
like we have to do a lot of deliberation,
But that's uncomfortable?
or that feels that okay, we are not
That's
growing
bhakti.
in this.
No.
We don't understand yet.
No. That's okay. You don't understand yet. But it's not uncomfortable. I mean, I have an invitation to go to Abu Dhabi. What's it like in Abu Dhabi? How do you spell it? What's it like there? But it's similar. When there's a destination, and you deliberate on how to prepare yourself and qualify yourself, and what's going to happen when you get there. Like and it's not just convenience. In the mood of devotion, it's super important, rather than just jump. Deliberate, and it's okay. It's uncomfortable.
More than convenience, Maharaj, I was thinking in terms of maturity. Like that discomfort was
How do
to
you become
think
mature? Ask your daughter. It's like being a teenager. Is it comfortable being a teenager? Going from dependence to independence, and it's uncomfortable. It's okay. It's not independent. How to do the independence program where it's not like absolute independence, but you're dependent and independent at the same time. So it's maturing. So don't obsess about, it takes too long, or you're being more thoughtful than you need to be, or something like that. That's silly.
if it is okay, Maharaj.
Supposing somebody goes the other way, they jump. What's that? They'll make a mess. And probably, perhaps don't even know they're making a mess. Step on toes and insult people and act a little cuckoo, and because they're not qualified. So someone's taking their time. Part of maturity. It's part of becoming mature is that process. So don't worry about it. You worry too much. Right? Yeah.
We want to serve the elevated devotees, but sometimes like this confusion whether they like it, they will like it or
It's
not.
okay.
So there
It's
is no
okay.
spontaneity.
So you're being thoughtful. That's good. Okay. Someone else. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki, Gaur Premanandi.